What is up, everyone? My name is Rose, and if you are still buying stocks like it is 1995, you are officially doing it wrong. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about real money, not that fake crypto moonshot garbage. Your cousin keeps texting you about this video is the second part of a 6-week series about options trading for side hustle income. And today we are getting into the guts of calls and puts. Look at the economy right now. Inflation is sticky, the housing market is a joke, and if you graduated in 2020 like I did, you know the world does not owe you a living. I spent years at a Fortune 500 company drinking burnt break room coffee and staring at spreadsheets just to realize the game is rigged against people who do not understand leverage. Stop acting like a tourist in the stock market and start acting like the person who owns the casino. Today I am going to explain exactly what options are, how they work, and why most of you are losing money on them because you are treating them like lottery tickets. Grab a notebook, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, and let us dive into the math that actually matters. Let us start with the basics of what an option actually is by comparing it to something you already know, which is buying a single share of stock. Imagine Apple is trading at $145 right now and you think it is going up. If you buy the stock at $145 and it goes to $146, you made a single dollar, which is barely enough to buy a stick of gum in this economy. If Apple goes to $200, you made $55, but if it drops to $100, you lost $45 of your hard-earned cash. When you buy a stock, your profit and loss is a one-to-one relationship. It is a straight line, boring, slow, and honestly kind of dangerous if you do not have a massive pile of capital. Now let us talk about options, which change the entire geometry of how you make money. An option is just a contract that gives you the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell a stock at a specific price before a certain date. Think of it like a reservation at a fancy restaurant. You have the right to show up and eat, but if you find a better taco truck across the street, you can just walk away and all you lost was the small fee you paid. For the reservation, there are two types of options, calls and puts, and you need to understand them like the back of your hand if you want to survive. A call option gives you the right to buy the stock at a specific price, which we call the strike price. Let us say you buy an Apple 145 strike call and it costs you $5 in premium. If Apple rockets to 200, you are still allowed to buy it for 145 because you hold that contract. You buy for 145, sell it to the market for 200, and you pocket $55. Subtract the $5 you paid for the option, and you have a net profit of $50. Now here's why people love options. If Apple crashes to 100, you do not lose $45. Like the guy who bought the stock, you just look at your contract, realize it is worthless to buy at 145 when the market is at 100, and you let it expire. Your total loss is just the $5 you paid for the premium. That is it. Your downside is capped while your upside is theoretically unlimited. This is what we call an asymmetrical payoff profile, or the hockey stick graph, where the line stays flat on the loss side but shoots up on the profit side. But do not get too excited yet, because there is a massive catch that kills most beginners. Options are not free, and they have an expiration date, which means you have to be right about the direction and you have to be right about the timing. If Apple stays at 145 or only moves to 146 by the time your option expires, that $5 you paid vanishes into thin air. Most people who buy options are just gambling on hope, and hope is not a financial strategy. It is a recipe for going broke. Statistically, the person selling you that option is the one making the consistent money because they are collecting your $5 over and over again. That is why I always say you have a better chance of winning as an option seller, especially if you are looking for that steady side hustle income. Now let us look at the other side of the coin, which is the put option. A put option gives you the right to sell the stock at a specific price, which is basically like buying insurance for your portfolio. If you own a put with a strike of 145 and Apple crashes to 100, you still get to sell it for 145. You are making money while the rest of the world is panicking and watching their 401k melt down. Your profit is the strike price of 145 minus the market price of 100 minus the premium you paid. Buying a put is a bearish trade, meaning you want the market to go down, and in a world of rising interest rates and corporate layoffs, knowing how to use puts is a survival skill. Selling a put is the opposite. It is a bullish move where you are telling the market you are willing to buy the stock at a certain price. If I sell a put at 140, I am saying I will buy Apple at 140 if it drops there, and people will pay me a premium just for making that promise. If the stock stays above 140, I keep the money and do absolutely nothing. It is like being the insurance company instead of the guy paying for the policy. To understand all this, you have to get comfortable with the options chain, which is just a big table showing all the available contracts. Calls are on the left, puts are on the right, and the strike prices are down the middle. When you see a price of 1.50 on the screen, remember the contract multiplier, which is always 101. Contract represents 100 shares. So that 1.50 is actually $150 out of your pocket. Do not let the small numbers fool you. Leverage can build a house or it can burn one down. I remember sitting in my car in the parking lot of my old job sweating while I watched my first option trade go to zero because I did not understand time decay. I was trying to be a hero buying way out of the money calls on some tech stock because I saw a guy on a forum do it. It was a $200 lesson that felt like $2,000 at the time because I was living on ramen and generic peanut butter. The reason I am a clean stream in this industry is because I will tell you when you are being an idiot. Stop looking for the secret 1000% gain and start looking for the consistent 2% gain. Wealth is built through the compound effect of small, smart decisions, not one lucky spin of the wheel. If you are an active retail investor like me, you are probably already dollar cost averaging into VO or VTI. That is the foundation. But options are the tools you use to build the walls and the roof. You can use options to generate income on the stocks you already own, which is called a covered call, but we will save that for the next video. For now, I need you to wrap your head around the 4 basic moves: buying a call, buying a put, and selling a put. Buying a call is betting on a pump. Selling a call is betting against a pump or just wanting to collect rent. Buying a put is betting on a dump, and selling a put is betting against a dump or wanting to buy at a discount. It sounds simple, but the psychology of seeing your account move in real time will test your soul. I have seen people with master's degrees in finance crumble because they could not handle a 10% dip in their option value. This is why I talk about lifestyle habits like driving a used car and avoiding luxury traps. If your life is expensive, you will make desperate trades. And desperate traders are just food for the sharks on Wall Street. I still drive a car that is 10 years old and has a weird smell in the backseat because I would rather have that money working for me in index funds. Every dollar you save on a stupid designer t-shirt is another dollar you can use to sell a put and generate cash flow. Think about the macro trends right now. We are seeing household debt hit record highs and the cost of living is out of control. If you do not have a way to make money while you sleep, or at least a way to make money without a boss breathing down your neck, you are in a vulnerable position. Options trading is one of the few skills that pays more as you get older and more patient. It is not about fast fingers or fancy monitors. It is about being the most disciplined person in the room. If you are getting value from this, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button so the algorithm knows we are actually learning something here. I have a free options trading starter kit linked below that has all the diagrams and definitions we talked about today. Print it out, put it on your wall, and stare at it until it makes sense. Next week, we are talking about the best apps and brokerages because some of these platforms are literally designed to make you fail. You need a broker that gives you the right data without charging you an arm and a leg in commissions. We are in a 6-week journey together, so do not try to learn it all in one night. Go back and watch the examples again if you need to, pause the video, and draw the payoff graphs yourself. The goal here is financial literacy, so you can live life on your own terms, not on the terms of a corporate HR department. I am Rose, and I am here to tell you the truth even when it hurts your feelings. Do your homework, keep your risk low, and I will see you in the next video. Now get out there and start looking at those options chains with a fresh set of eyes. Check the expiration dates. Look at the volume and ask yourself who is on the other side of that trade. If you cannot figure out who the sucker is, it is probably you. But we are going to fix that. One video at a time, same place. See you next week. Bye. I remember the first time I actually saw a trade go green by more than 50% and my heart was racing. I was sitting in a cheap plastic chair in my studio apartment, drinking a 50-cent can of soda, and I thought I was a genius. Then the next day, the market moved 2% against me, and that profit evaporated. That was the day I realized that knowing the definitions of calls and puts is only 10% of the battle. The other 90% is managing your own greed and fear. Most gurus will show you a screenshot of a massive gain, but they never show you the 50 losers they had to get there. I am showing you the mechanics because I want you to have a sustainable business, not a gambling addiction. If you are serious about this as a side hustle, you have to treat it like a job. Even if it only takes you 30 minutes a week, that means keeping a trade log, knowing your break, even points, and never ever betting more than you can afford to lose. If you are worried about the rent money while you are looking at an options chain, you have already lost. The market smells fear, and it rewards the person who can stay calm while everyone else is panicking. That is why I emphasize the dollar cost averaging into those boring index funds like VO. That is your safety net. That is the foundation that allows you to take these calculated risks with options. Think about the compound effect. If you can just make a few $100s extra a month and reinvest it, you are changing your entire future. Over 30 years, an extra $300 a month at a 10% return is nearly $700,000. That is the power of math, and it does not care about your excuses or the news headlines. We are looking at a future where traditional pensions are gone and Social Security is a question mark. You are the only person responsible for your retirement, so you might as well learn how the big players do it. They do not buy stocks and pray. They use options to hedge their risk and amplify their returns. It is time you did the same, so go grab that notebook again and write down one thing you learned today. Was it the hockey stick payoff? Was it the fact that one contract equals 100 shares? Or was it just the realization that you have been gambling instead of investing? Whatever it is, own it and move forward. The 2020 version of me would be shocked to see how far a little bit of discipline can take you. I am still driving that old car, still drinking the cheap coffee, but my account looks a lot different than it did back then. Consistency is the only secret ingredient in this game. I will see you guys in the comments. Let me know what strike prices you are looking at or what stocks are on your radar. I read every single one of them because we are all in this together. Let us get to work and make 2026 the year we actually take control of our finances. Stay sharp, stay humble, and keep stacking those wins. Peace out for real this time. Remember, every time you buy a call, someone is on the other side selling it to you. Ask yourself why they want to be the seller and why you want to be the buyer. If you can answer that question with logic instead of emotion, you are already ahead of 90% of the people on the app. The market is a giant machine for moving money, and your job is to make sure it moves toward you, not away from you. I have spent thousands of hours looking at these charts, so you do not have to do it alone. We will talk about the Greeks later: Delta, Gamma, Theta, and Vega. They sound like a fraternity, but they are actually the math that governs option prices. Do not let the big words scare you. They are just ways to measure risk. Once you understand them, the options chain starts to look less like a wall of numbers and more like a map. And once you have the map, you can finally find your way to financial independence. It is a long road, but the view at the end is worth every late night and every burnt coffee. I am proud of you for making it to the end of this long video. It shows you have the attention span to actually succeed in this. Most people dropped off in the first 2 minutes to go watch a cat video. Those people will be working for us one day. Keep that focus, keep that hunger, and keep learning. See you next week. Bye.